Hi everybody, I'm Emmeline Rasmussen, Integrative Registered Dietitian, yoga teacher, and founder of Sound Nutrition. Today we're going to talk about ways to stock your kitchen to stay well during the stay-at-home order. It is extremely important to continue eating as well as possible. Of course, we're going to have some of those comfort foods that we might end up turning to, and people are certainly experimenting in their kitchen. So there's no shame in enjoying the foods that you like, but it is important to still stay balanced and include plenty of fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds for healthy fats, as well as good sources of high quality protein, things like legumes, fish, seafood, sustainable sources, of course. And then if you consume other poultry, chicken, turkey, even red meat in moderation, for some people that's fine. I personally recommend a Mediterranean style of diet, which is what we're going to be talking more about today. So when it comes to the important things to include in your fridge, freezer, pantry, I do recommend always having extra virgin olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil, this is in particular organic extra virgin from Greece because I am half Greek. Extra virgin olive oil is filled with antioxidants, including hydroxytyrosol in particular, and that's so good for our brain, for our heart, for our eyes. And that is only in your extra virgin. So extra virgin means it comes from the first cold press of the olives where all of their nutrients are still intact and at the highest levels. So I do recommend buying extra virgin. Now, when you are heating above about a medium-low heat, it's actually better to use a different type of oil because extra virgin olive oil can oxidize when you heat it above about 325. So for higher heat, I recommend grapeseed or even an avocado oil. Coconut oil works as well. I don't recommend vegetable oil because it is inflammatory, so I would recommend sticking to one of the others that I mentioned instead. Other key things that I keep in my pantry include Manuka honey. This is pretty much the only sweetener I use these days, and Manuka honey is, first of all, not a refined sweetener. It does still have sugar in it. It is still a form of natural sugar, so still want to use some moderation here, but it's a great alternative to things like maple syrup and even to things like agave nectar, which is also certainly healthy. But when it comes to Manuka, you're also getting some antibacterial components. Making sure that you do get an MGO of 100 or greater on Manuka honey is important so that you do get some of those antibacterial and antiviral benefits. Other important things to incorporate into your diet: turmeric, one of my favorite spices. I also take turmeric in supplement form. I'd be happy to explain a little bit more about that in another video we'll be doing on superfoods. Garlic, I also recommend. This is a staple in my pantry, and of course ginger. And that's in addition to your regular salt and pepper as well. And there's plenty of other seasonings in my pantry, but I would say these are some of the essentials to make sure that you have. If you like spicy things, cayenne pepper is great as well. Speaking of garlic, garlic is high in a nutrient called allicin. Allicin is at its highest level when you do crush the garlic. So it is important when you're eating garlic to crush it before you cook it and to cook it on a low heat so that you can retain all of the allicin, which has all of the antioxidant benefits. Onions are another great thing to keep around. They're high in quercetin, which is another important antioxidant. And keep in mind too, onions and garlic are going to have a long shelf life. So I do recommend doing your normal grocery shopping and then in addition, getting some extra produce that has a longer shelf life, like onions and garlic. In addition to Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts are part of our cruciferous vegetable family. So cruciferous vegetables include Brussels sprouts, cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower. All of those do have a little bit longer of a shelf life than, say, leafy greens. So certainly still get your leafy greens, but maybe getting a little extra of those longer shelf life cruciferous vegetables. These Brussels I've had over a week now. Certainly they're at their peak nutrient level right when you first pick them. So at a week in, they still are nutritious, but they're not nearly as healthy as when you first get them. So try to eat your fresh produce quickly and then hold off on the things that have the longer shelf life. Now, other important things that have a long shelf life: citrus fruits, lemons, limes, grapefruit. Those are going to stay in the refrigerator a little bit longer versus something like an apple. And then another great strategy too is frozen. So I buy extra, so I certainly still buy my berries, but then I buy extra of the frozen things that I like. So frozen blueberries we have here, frozen chopped kale, frozen cauliflower rice, and then of course acai packs, which are very high in antioxidants and make a great smoothie or smoothie bowl. So having an extra amount of produce that's in frozen form, as well as maybe some frozen chicken or turkey, some frozen salmon, some frozen beans even, those are great things to have on hand for once you do exhaust your supply of fresh produce. Other dry goods, which are going to have the longest shelf life of all, are going to be things like, again, beans, which are a great source of plant-based protein, whole grains. I have gluten-free oats here. I also recommend things like quinoa and amaranth. All of those are naturally gluten-free. Oats, you do need to make sure that they're certified gluten-free if you are on a gluten-free diet. We also have Brazil nuts here. Now, all nuts can provide wonderful health benefits, but in particular, Brazil nuts have great sources of selenium. They're the richest sources of selenium in our diet, which is an important detoxifier for the liver. And finally, we do have pumpkin seeds here as well. Pumpkin seeds are a good source of omega-3 fats. So especially if you don't eat seafood, pumpkin seeds are a great alternative. And they're rich in magnesium as well. Magnesium is a nutrient that most of us don't get enough of in our diet. And it's key for things like balancing our mood, helping us sleep, helping reduce sugar cravings and help our body to better handle sugar, and can also help reduce muscle cramping and promote better sleep. So these are just some of the basics. For a full grocery list, you can check out soundnutrition.co. And we also have an Instagram and Facebook page, so feel free to check those out too. Thanks and stay well.